dies with me. You can't kill me.
In time, you will beg me to.
The orc origin tale has been expanded upon in The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, and it has an odd poetry to it. Though those who can take a wild excursion into Morgul magic may find some thematic resonance here, those who are fundamentally opposed to the show's embellishments of legend have no reason to like this one any more than its previous ones. One of the most enigmatic original characters in The Rings of Power, Adar, has maybe been given uneven characterization. Or maybe, as one might expect from someone who has been tortured by Morgoth, he is just erratic. Adar has been presented quite consistently as the defender of the Uruk race in Lord of the Rings, the Lord Father of the Uruks, and their direct ancestor. This contributes to the peculiar Adar moment's confusion. Adar's casual decision in Season 1 to scorch an orc's limb in the sun to make a point really confused me because it wasn't the choice of a typical, loving father. However, Adar's mental struggle is given fresh insight in Rings of Power Season 2, which provides technical explanations for how he changed from being an elf to an Uruk millennia before the events of the show. The orc origin story of Adar is an invention of Rings of Power, although Morgoth is the main inspiration for Rings of Power's methods. In Rings of Power Season 2, we learned more about Adar's beginnings, which offered fresh content influenced by Morgoth's torture techniques, which I am familiar with from the Silmarillion. In Season 1, Adar first told Galadriel that he was a Moriander. After these elves awoke in the First Age and were, by slow arts of cruelty, corrupted and enslaved into the first orcs, Morgoth set out to destroy them. One of the 13 elves who were taken to a dark and nameless peak, chained, and left, in exchange for Sauron's allegiance, Adar admitted to him in the opening scene of Season 2. By using his tie, starve, and poison approach, Morgoth blesses these 13 with a new birth and promises them power. Morgoth's elf Uruk operation was free of charge, but it was deficient in the health and safety department. This was given to the starving Adar by Sauron, who drank it all. I can only surmise that Adar's change was brought on by this poisonous drink because that marked the conclusion of his Moriander tale. The villain Morgoth from The Lord of the Rings likewise chained and starved Hurin and Maedhros on a gloomy peak, but this one had a name, Thangorodrim. In the meantime, Orcish arrows in The Lord of the Rings were poisoned. Adar's dark transformation backfired on everyone. Despite Sauron's oddly poetic promise to the children of Adar, given that the power that Morgoth and Sauron promised Adar, in especially, was offspring, their torture was all the more brutal. In the 6th episode of Season 2, Adar told Galadriel this. While he never became as Machiavellian as Sauron or Morgoth, Adar's goal in the Rings of Power was to find family and community. Growing older, J.R.R. Tolkien had a growing distaste for orcs as cannon fodder and talked about their right to exist in peace within Morgoth's ring. I find this developed form of Tolkien's orc idea really poetic, especially with the sympathetic Adar and orc Glug with his wife and infant, the deceptive Sauron cried during Adar's story. The wine was blood red, so maybe some kind of blood magic was afoot, an early experiment preceding Sauron putting his blood into the 9 rings. Sauron's tear could have been fake, nostalgic for better times, regretful as he contemplated how his orc plan had backfired and got him killed, or a sign of identifying with Adar. Rejected by Galadriel, Sauron also lacked community. Morgoth's path was lonely. As Sauron actor Charlie Vickers said, "What happens when a man hasn't been loved his whole life? Power fills that void, via time." The portrayal of Sauron, Adar, and the orcs in Rings of Power conveyed the danger, foolishness, and unbreakable bond of obeying Morgoth, while also showing how they erred dangerously toward doing so. Ironically, during the course of Season 2, Adar sacrificed an increasing number of orcs in an effort to defeat his adversary, Sauron, becoming more and more like him. Although I would have preferred stronger characterization, this does suggest that Adar has always been ruthless. He admitted to himself that not much of his heart was left. Sauron wasn't canonically tortured by Morgoth as he described in Season 2, but this was bizarrely consistent with the headcanon. Sauron and Morgoth were too clever not to know each other's opposing goals. So I always figured they manipulated each other in a dangerous game, and Morgoth taught cruelty by administering it. Likewise, pain became a reward for Vickers Sauron, crossing his pain and pleasure wires and originating his love of violence. Sauron may well have been lying in the show, but his victimhood would explain a lot, as Adar's does. Morgoth's deceptions run deep, making allegiance to him risky. In television and film, humanizing villains may be risky, particularly when bringing the most evil characters from literature to life. But even while I think Sauron and Adar are captivating on film, I still don't like them, regardless of how much they may or may not have endured. Both Adar and Sauron are uncomfortable in their stoniness of heart, making them neither genuinely tragic nor sympathetic. If they become more tragic, they might become abstractly heroic in a way, which would be better drama but flirt with Tolkien's sacrilege without definitely displaying it. Meanwhile, in The Lord of the Rings of Power, Adar's past gives Morgoth's evil important context. That concludes our review for today, but the discussion is far from over. For more, leave a comment, hit like, and subscribe for more videos. Keep the magic of movies alive until the next time, signing off from FK Bytes.